Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you very much for joining us today. We'd like to seek your good wishes and your blessings so that we can continue reciting the Srimad Bhagavad Puran. We're very fortunate to be able to do this. It's always been a dream of mine to recite all the verses and read this text and go through each and every one of them. So it's really nice that we are able to do that. Last week, we looked at the third chapter entitled Krishna, the source of all the incarnations. And we saw how 22 avatars of the Lord were described. And Krishna is described as Krishna Stu Bhagwan Swayam. Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of God, the source of the avatars. In other words, avatari. So this is clearly proclaimed in the Srimad Bhagavad Puran, which is considered to be the highest Puran. So I wanted to continue with chapter 4 this time, and it's entitled The Appearance of Sri Narad. So Ananda Leela Mataji, would you like to start? And
then the word Hare Krishna, and then Pranam to all devotees.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Shri Nityananda Chandram Patita Sharanadam Gauradam Tam Bhajeham Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Giridhara Shirvasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vyasa uvacha Itti Bhruvanam Samstuya Muninam Dirgha Satrinam Vriddha Kulapati Sutam Bahavracha Sonako Bravit.
We can't hear you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. Vyasadev said, on hearing Suta Goswami speak thus, Shonak Muni, who was the elderly learned leader of all the rishis engaged in that prolonged sacrificial ceremony, congratulated Sukta Goswami by addressing him as follows. So this prolonged sacrificial ceremony is the 1,000-year yajna that they were doing at Naimisharanya. And the leader of that group was Shonak Muni, and the speaker was Suta Goswami. So this is Shonak Rishi's glorifying. Vyasadeva is saying Shonak Rishi is glorifying Suta Goswami. Okay.
Sonaka uvacha Sutta Mahabhaga Vadano Vadatamvara Katham Bhagavatim Punyam Yad Aha Bhagavan Chukaha.
Sonak said, O Sutta Goswami, you are the most fortunate and respected of all those who can speak and recite. Please relate the pious message of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is spoken by the great and powerful sage Sukdev Goswami.
Kashmin yoge pravrateyam sthane vakena hetuna kuttah sanchoditah krishnah krittavan samhita muni.
In what period and at what place was this first begun? And why was this taken up? From where did Krishna Dvaipan Vyas, the great sage, get the inspiration to compile this literature.
तस्य पुत्रो महायोगी समद्रं निर्विकल्पकः एकान्तमतिरुन्निद्रो बुद्धो मुद्ध इवेयते.
His, Vyasdev's son, was a great devotee, an equibalanced monist, whose mind was always concentrated in monism. He was transcendental to mundane activities, but being unexposed, he appeared like an ignorant person.
So that Vyasdev's son is Sukadeva Goswami.
दृष्ट्वानुयान्तं ऋषिम् आत्मजम् अपि अनग्धम् देव्यो ह्रिया परिदाधुर्न सुतस्य चित्रम् तद्भिक्ष पृच्छति मुनु जगदुस्तवास्ति त्रिपुंविधनातु सुतस्य विविक्तदृष्टेः.
Brilliant, Maji, brilliant.
While Srila Vyasadeva was following his son, beautiful young damsels who were bathing naked covered their bodies with cloth, although Sri Vyasadeva himself was not naked. But they had not done so when his son had passed. The sage inquired about this, and the young ladies replied that his son was purified, and when looking at them made no distinction between male and female, but the sage made such distinctions.
This shows the amazing position of Sukadeva Goswami.
कथम् अलक्षितः पौरैः सम्प्राप्तः कुरु जङ्गलान् उन्मत्तमुक्खजदवद् विचरन् गजसावये.
How was he, Srila Sukdev, the son of Vyas, recognized by the citizens when he entered the city of Hastinapur, now Delhi, after wandering in the provinces of Kuru and Jangala, appearing like a madman, dumb and retarded?
कथं वा पाण्डवेयस्य राजर्षिर्मुनिना सह संवादः समभूत् तत यत्र सा साध्वती श्रुतिः.
How did it so happen that King Parishik met this great sage, making it possible for this great transcendental essence of the Vedas, the Bhagavatam, to be sung to him?
सगोदोहनमात्रं हि गृहेषु गृहमेधिनाम् अवेक्षते महाभागस्तीर्थीकुर्वंस्तदाश्रमन्.
He, Sukdev Goswami, was accustomed to stay at the door of a householder only long enough for a cow to be milked, and he did this just to sanctify the residence.
अभिमन्यु सुतं सुत प्राहुर्भागवतोत्तमम् तस्य जन्म महाश्चर्यं कर्माणि च ग्रहणीनः.
It is said that Maharaj Parikshit is a great first-class devotee of the Lord, that his birth and activities are all wonderful. Please tell us about him.
सम्राट् कश्यपः हेतो पाण्डूनां मानवर्धनः प्रायोपाविष्टो गङ्गायाम् अनादृत्याधिराश्रयम्.
He was a great emperor and possessed all the opulences of his acquired kingdom. He was so exalted that he was increasing the prestige of the Pandu dynasty. Why did he give up everything to sit on the bank of the Ganga and fast until death?
नमन्ति यत्पादनिकेतम् आत्मनः शिवाय हानीय धनानि शत्रवः कथं सविराः श्रियमङ्गदुर्गजाम् युवे सतोस्त्रास्त्रुम् अहो सहासुभिः.
He was such a great emperor that all his enemies would come and bow down at his feet and surrender all their wealth for their own benefit. He was full of youth and strength, and he possessed kingly opulences that were difficult to give up. Why did he want to give up everything, including his life?
शिवाय लोकस्य भवाय भूतये य उत्तमश्लोक परायणा जनाः जीवन्ति नात्मार्थम् अशोपराश्रयम् मुमोच निर्विद्य कुतः कलेवरम्.
Those who are devoted to the cause of the personality of Godhead live only for the welfare, development, and happiness of others. They do not live for any selfish interest. So, even though the emperor Parikshit was free from all attachment to worldly possessions, how could he give up his mortal body, which is a shelter for others?
तत्सर्वं नः समाचक्ष्व पृष्ठो यद् इह किञ्चन मन्ये त्वां विषये वाचां स्नातम् अन्यत्र चाण्डशात्.
We know that you are expert in the meaning of all subjects, except some portions of the Vedas, and thus you can clearly explain the answers to all the questions we have just put to you.
So we can take a little pause there, and isn't it? You know it. Okay. So this is Shonak Rishi. He's asking a series of questions to Sutta Goswami for the sake of the sages at Naimisharanya, because they wanted to hear this Bhagavatam. So Shonak Rishi starts with glorifying Sutta Goswami. He asks about the history of the Bhagavad Puran. How did Vyasadeva get the inspiration to compile this literature? How did Parikshit Maharaj meet the great Shukadeva Goswami, whom he explains hardly stays long in one place? I think, what was this saying? Long enough for a cow to be milked. He doesn't even stay that long. So that he could actually recite the Bhagavatam, because the Bhagavatam takes time to recite. So how is it that was possible? And why did Parikshit Maharaj, who was the king of the whole world, give up everything to sit on the back? He was a young king. He was in his prime. Why did he give that all up to sit on the banks of the Ganga and fasted? Which is another unusual thing. He fasted until death. And why would he give up his body like this? He had so much to accomplish, so much to do. What happened? So then we can go to the next bit. Yeah, continue. And your recitation is very pleasing to hear, Ananda Leela Maharaj. Very nice.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhu. Sutta uvacha dvapare samanuprapte tritye yoga pariyaye jataha parasharad yogi vashavyam kalaya hare.
Sutta Goswami said, when the second millennium overlapped the third, the great sage Vyasadeva was born to Parasar in the womb of Satyavati, the daughter of Vasu.
This is a very interesting pastime, how Vyasadeva took birth. Parasar Muni, he was in the area where Satyavati was the fisherman's daughter. He was being taken across the river by Satyavati, who would man these boats. And at that moment, it was very auspicious. Parasar Muni knew that this is an auspicious time to beget a child. So he petitioned Satyavati that this is the really right time. And Satyavati protested, but Parasar assured her that don't worry, you will maintain your innocence, and also now you will not be smelling like a fisherwoman, but you will be have very nice fragrance coming from your body. And in that way, Vyasadeva was born. A very interesting way of him coming about in this world.
Sakadachit sarasvatya Upasprisya jalam suchihi vivikta eka asina udite ravimandale.
Once upon a time, Vyasadeva, as the sun rose, took his morning ablution in the waters of the Saraswati and sat alone to concentrate.
Parashvaragyaha sarishihi kalena vyakta ramhasa yuga dharma vyatikaram praptam bhuvi yuge yuge.
The great sage Vyasadeva saw anomalies in the duties of the millennium. This happens on the earth in different ages due to the unforeseen force of time.
भौतिकानां च भावानां शक्तिह्रासं च तत्कृतम् अश्रद्धानान्निः साध्वान् दुर्मेधान् हि रसितायुषः दुर्भगांश्च जनान् वीक्ष मुनिर्दिव्येन चक्षुषा सर्ववर्णाश्रमाणां यद् दध्यो हितं अमोघदृक्.
The great sage, who was fully equipped in knowledge, could see through his transcendental vision the deterioration of everything material due to the influence of the age. He could also see that the faithless people in general would be reduced in duration of life and would be impatient due to lack of goodness. Thus he contemplated for the welfare of man in all stages and orders of life.
चतुर्होत्रं कर्म शुद्धं प्रजानां वीक्ष वैदिकं व्यादधाद्यज्ञसन्तत्यै वेदम् एकं चतुर्विधम्.
He saw that the sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas were means by which the people's occupations could be purified. And to simplify the process, he divided the one Veda into four in order to expand them among men.
So this is where it's stated that the one Vedas, which was split into four, this was the reason why it was split into four, to make it easier, more accessible to men. But even that has become inaccessible because in Kali Yuga it's very difficult to maintain spiritual practices.
ऋग्यजुःसामथर्वाख्या वेदाश्चद्वार उद्धृताः इतिहासपुराणं च पञ्चमो वेद उच्यते.
The four divisions of the original sources of knowledge, the Vedas, were made separately, but the historical facts and authentic stories mentioned in the Puranas are called the fifth Veda.
ततर्गवेदधरा पैलः सामगो जैमिनी कवि वैशम्पायन एवैको निष्णातो यजुषाम् उत.
After the Vedas were divided into the four divisions, Paila Rishi became the professor of the Rig Veda, Jaimini the professor of the Sama Veda, and Vaishampayana alone became glorified by the Yajur Veda.
अथर्वाङ्गीरसामाशेत् सुमन्तुर्दारुणो मुनिः इतिहासपुराणानां पितामेरो महर्षणः.
The Sumantu Muni Angira, who was very devoutly engaged, was entrusted with the Atharva Veda. My father, Romaharshan, was entrusted with the Puranas and historical records.
So his father Romaharshana, very famous.
That's Sutta Goswami's father.
Goswami's father. Thank you.
Ta ittariषयो वेदं स्वं स्वं व्यासान् अनेकधा शिष्यैः प्रशिष्यैतच्छिष्यैर्वेदास्ते सखिनो भवन्.
All these learned scholars in their turn rendered their entrusted Vedas unto their many disciples, grand disciples, and great grand disciples, and thus the respective branches of followers of the Vedas came into being.
eva veda durmedhe dharyante purusharyatha evam chakkara bhagavan vyasah kripana vatsalah.
Thus the great sage Vyasadeva, who is very kind to the ignorant masses, edited the Vedas so they might be assimilated by less intellectual men.
Strisudra dvija bandhunam traina shuddhi gochara karma shreyasi mudhanam shreya evam bhavediha iti bharatam akyanam kripaya munina kritam.
Out of compassion, the great sage thought it wise that this would enable men to achieve the ultimate goal of life. Thus he compiled the great historical narration called the Mahabharata for women, laborers, and friends of the twice born.
So this particular section is the beginning of Sutta Goswami's narration. He begins by explaining how Vyasadeva was sitting on the bank of the Saraswati and where he foresaw the deterioration in this age of Kali Yuga. And in the 12th canto, so we're in the first, but the 12th canto, Vyasadeva gives a lot more information about the deterioration, specific deterioration in the age of Kali Yuga. And we were reading through these today because at the end of Kali Yuga, Kalkiya avatar appears. So this we see some of the effects of the age of Kali Yuga already taking hold. Thus he divided, Vedvyas divided the Vedas into 4, and he also wrote the 5th Vedas, which is the Mahabharata and Puranas. And then he taught these books to his disciples. So those disciples are named in this particular section of the Bhagavatam.
Evam pravratasya sada bhutanam shreyasi dvijaha sarvatma kenapi yada natu shadridayam tataha.
O twice-born Brahmins, still his mind was not satisfied, although he engaged himself in working for the total welfare of all people.
Nati prashidaddhirdhayah sarasvatyastate sucho vitarkayan viviktastha idam ko vacha dharmavid.
Thus the sage, being dissatisfied at heart, at once began to reflect because he knew the essence of religion, and he said within himself,
Dhrita vrate nahi maya chandamshi guravo gyayaha manita nirvyalikena grahitam chanushasanam bharata vyapadesena hi amnayarthascha pradarshitaha drishyate yatra dharmadi Sri Sudradibirapi Uta.
I have, under strict disciplinary vows, unpretentiously worshipped the Vedas, the spiritual masters, and the altar of sacrifice. I have also abided by the rulings and have shown the import of disciplic succession through the explanation of the Mahabharata, by which even women, Sudras, and others, friends of the twice born, can see the path of religion.
Tathapi batame dahyo hi atma chaivatmana vibhuhu asampanna iva bhati brahma varchasya satamaha.
I'm feeling incomplete, though I myself am fully equipped with everything required by the Vedas.
Kim va bhagavata dharma na prayena nirupitaha priyaha paramahamsanam ta eva hi achyuta priyaha.
This may be because I did not specifically point out the devotional service of the Lord, which is dear both to perfect beings and to the infallible Lord.
Tashyaivam khilamatmanam manyamanasya khidyataha krishnasya narado bhyagat ashramam praga udaharitam.
As mentioned before, Narad reached the cottage of Krishna Dvaipan Vyas on the banks of the Saraswati, just as Vyasadeva was regretting his defects.
Tam abhigyana sahasha pratiyuttaya gatam munihi pujayam asha vidhivan naradam surapujitam. Shri Srimad Bhagavata Purana ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
At the auspicious arrival of Sri Narad, Sri Vyasadeva got up respectfully and worshipped him, giving him veneration.
Oh, sorry. Prematurely hit that.
Giving him veneration equal to that given to Brahmaji, the creator.
Okay, so the last part of this chapter is where Vyasadeva, even after writing the Vedas, the Puranas, the Mahabharata, he still felt unsatisfied at heart. And he looked inside. Why am I feeling like this? I've written the Holy Scriptures for everyone. He considered he had worshipped the Vedas, the spiritual master, followed the rules of spiritual life. He'd even written the Mahabharata, making it accessible to all. Was it that he had forgotten to describe bhakti, devotional service? He was contemplating like this. And at that moment, Narad Muni arrived at the ashram of Vyasadeva. Now this is very, very interesting. Why is Vyasadeva still not satisfied after writing the Vedas? Is there a problem with the Vedas? Is there a problem with Vyasadeva? No, Vyasadeva is the literal incarnation of the Lord. And the Vedas came from his mouth. So there's no intrinsic problems with the Vedas or Vyasadeva. However, what the Vedas is doing, it is, Veda means knowledge, and Vedas is effectively allowing everyone to step into spiritual life, no matter what their condition of life. And therefore the Vedas are not specific or do not specifically describe Bhakti or Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why is that? Because the Vedas is trying to bring whoever and wherever they are, whichever level one is at, to the next level. So if one is in the mode of ignorance and likes to indulge in eating meat, for example, the Vedas caters for that person. He allows him to eat that meat under certain circumstances, but with a view to enlighten that person. So the example is often given that in the Vedas it is allowed that one can eat the meat of goat. So one, before killing the goat, one would say into the ears of the goat, I will kill you in this life, you can kill me in the next life. And that mantra is spoken. So, into the ears of the goat. And if you speak that mantra enough, the reciter will realize this is not a good bargain. I eat you this life, you eat me in the next life. So the idea of the Vedas is to improve one's consciousness, and it does it subtly. It won't specifically say, don't eat meat because of this, but it will do it in such a way that the reader or the practitioner of the Vedas will understand that this is not a good practice. Let's move on to the next level. So the Vedas is very vast. It's covers so many different topics, from astrology to Ayurveda. It covers everything pretty much, and thus it is not specific to bhakti or devotional service or Krishna's supreme position. And this was at the heart of the dissatisfaction that Vyasadeva felt, because he had not adequately glorified the Supreme Lord, nor Bhakti Devi, Radharani. So that we will cover in the next chapter, where Narad Muni, who is the spiritual master of Vyasadeva, advises him to write the Srimad Bhagavatam. And that scripture, the Bhagavad Puran, completely satisfies Vyasadeva, completely satisfies us as well, because it is the topmost scripture describing the pastimes of Sri Krishna. And right throughout the Bhagavatam is the concept of bhakti, devotional service. So I wanted to stop there and ask if there are any questions or any comments. Surrender, would you like to share anything?
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Prabhu, Nitai Gaur Haribol.
You go.
Very nice, Prabhu. It's everything interesting, and you explain it all well. So, yes, continue, Prabhu. Excellent.
Thank
So
you.
we'd like to thank you and Jayanti Mata.
No,
Oh.
thank you to
Thank
Ananda
you.
Leela.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing, absolutely
Yes, thank you
amazing.
to Ananda Leela as well. Nitai Gaur Haribol, Prabhu. Nitai Gaur Haribol.
Yeah, well done.
Hare Krishna, my pleasure, Prabhu. Thank you.
Very good. Mr. Saha?
Yeah, it's nice explanation. Very, very nice explanation. Your explanation is very nice. End of this conclusion. Very good.
Thank you.
And Jayantam and that's Surendu Mata is a very nice.
Ananda Leela, yeah. Her name is
Alhamdulillah.
Surrender
It's
is
nice.
her
We'll
husband.
not miss.
Krishna, thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Thank
Will
you,
not
Prabhu.
miss anybody. Anybody miss, another will come and fill up the gap.
This is
That's-
Krishna's mercy, huh?
That's right. Krishna's mercy, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Krishna mercy. So that's
Hare
fine.
Krishna Kausalya Maharaj.
Prabhuji, I wanted to ask you one question.
Sure, sure.
You know, today you said is Kalgi Jayanti,
Kalki Jayanti, yeah.
but Kalgi Avatar is it coming end of the Kal Yuga, isn't it?
That's right. That is, I asked this of my guru as well. How come we're celebrating Kalki?
Yeah.
Our Guru Maharaj, yes, our Guru Maharaj. And I said to Guru Maharaj that how come we're celebrating his birthday? He's not appeared yet. But Guru Maharaj said he's appeared in previous
Yugas.
Kali Yugas. In the
Previous Kali
Yugas,
Yugas.
he appeared.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are honoring that occasion of him appearing in the previous Kali Yuga. So, and it's important. It's not the appearance that's so important. It's the activity of Kalki that we are remembering and honoring. And in order that we remember ourselves that this is the age of Kali, and it's a really horrible age, and we have to protect ourselves, our consciousness, so that we don't get contaminated by this age of Kali. So that's why we celebrate Kalki Jayanti, because Kalki, what he does is come and destroy the Kali mentality. And when, sometimes devotees also fall into that trap. So what Kalki does, when we celebrate the appearance of Kalki Jayanti, it destroys that Kali Yuga mentality of the devotee. That's the whole idea.
Okay, Prabhu. That means he comes in every Kali Yuga?
He comes
Yes.
every Kali Yuga.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. In order to bring about the next Yuga, which is Satya Yuga.
Yeah.
He comes and cleans up purifies so that the next yuga can begin. He's a very powerful incarnation of the Lord.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, so how many Kali Yugs have gone past?
Sorry?
How many Kali Yugs have gone past?
Oh, this is, we're halfway through the age, through Lord Brahma's lifetime, 50 years.
So 50.
Wow.
So, no. In one day of Brahma, there are 71 Mahayugs.
Oh.
That means there are 71 Kali Yugs. So 71, okay, let's work it out.
71 times
71,
365
71 times 365 times
times
100.
50.
Times 100. Oh, times
50 have
50.
gone.
Times 50, yeah, times 50. Sorry, yeah, you're right. So 1.3 million Kali Yugas, more or less, have passed.
Oh my God.
Only in this life of Brahma. And this is half a breath of Mahavishnu.
Sorry, Prabhuji, what you said? Half breath?
Of Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu's one breath is equal to
100 years.
100 years of Brahma's life. And only 50 years have passed so far.
Beyond comprehension, isn't it?
Beyond
Prabhuji?
comprehension.
At least beyond my comprehension.
Yeah, no, for sure. It is inconceivable. Only
Even I,
No,
even
no.
I had this Kalki Jayanti question because, I was just reading out to Shaivi and she's like, but how can that be, mommy? Kalki Avatar is not yet come, And obviously then the question is, will we see him in our lifetime? And I'm like,
No.
not really.
Definitely,
So-
Shavi is not going to see him. No. Generally, the people who will be present at that time will be the asuras, the really low born. There will be some devotees, but they will be hidden. They will be really praying for Kalki to appear. And our Guru Maharaj used to say Kalki should appear now because Kali Yuga has eaten all of its good karma. It's become so bad.
I feel the same, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kalki will appear in that family of Brahmins. That's what it's predicted. So that family will be there of Brahmins.
In
Yeah.
Sambal,
Yeah.
where you've been. That's where you've been, Sambal.
Have we been there before, Prabhuji?
No, Purna Mataji has been. Shukatal.
Okay.
Shukatal.
Oh, is it Sambal? Okay, I
Sambal.
know it's the
Is
other
that the
name
same
is
place,
Sambal.
Shambal and Shukatal?
No,
Oh, they're two different
they're
places.
different
It's
places.
Shambal. I don't know if you've been to Shambal. Have you, Purna Mataji?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay.
No.
No, he appears in Shambal, which is in UP as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I thought it was somewhere in Sri Lanka. Okay.
Sri Lanka, yes.
That's where his wife appears actually, the Dharampatni of Kalki. She'll be the daughter of the king of Sri Lanka.
Yes, that's what I read. Yeah.
Bhavati.
Yeah.
Very
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, we shouldn't be around at that time. We should be hopefully back somewhere in the spiritual world, hopefully.
Because it says that you won't even see him. He moves like greased lightning, He's just killing with his sword.
He's purifying the world at that time.
Yeah, I won't be surprised.
Yeah.
The way we are moving,
The
the
way
way
we are
things are
moving.
happening around the world, it's not a very positive, thing happening around us, to be honest.
Yeah. Guru Maharaj was always very concerned about the treatment of Gomata. She was, they used to put chili powder in her eyes, and really making Gomata suffer so much. And this was the thing that really concerned him about the current age, how Gomata is so badly abused, especially in Bharat, the land which should be looking after Gomata. It's really disheartening. But anyway, let's see. because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, it's said that 10,000 years are a little bit like Satya Yuga. In we're 500 years into the 10,000 years. And in one sense, it's a great time for us because simply by chanting this Mahamantra, we can really make enormous progress towards our spiritual destination. So actually, we are very fortunate. If it was Satya Yuga, we'll be happy, enjoying. But because it's Kali Yuga, we're struggling. And struggling is actually good for us because then we remember the Lord. If we're happy, who cares for the Lord? We're happy. But if we're struggling, my Lord, please, I'm struggling. Please let me come closer to you. So actually, it's a blessing. Kali Yuga is a blessing. And it said that even the Devatas, even this is mentioned in the Bhagavad Puran, the Devatas are taking birth in Kali Yuga to take advantage of this benediction that the holy names are so powerful and effective in this age. They can carry one to the spiritual world. So actually we are very fortunate in one sense to be in Kali Yuga, to have a human life.
Born after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birth.
Having a human birth and in family of devotees. We should really be very thankful to the Lord. It's a great, great boon. Make the most of it. We should make the most of it. And luckily, we have the opportunity to do so. So I wanted to thank everybody. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, everybody. You take care. And we'll see everybody tomorrow or next week.
Tomorrow, what time, Prabhu?
Tomorrow is 3:30. We are learning Brahma Samhita.
Okay. Anyway, I always miss that time.
Oh, that time is tough for you. Yeah.
All the time I miss. Every week.
Every day, yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
I'll try.
Try to come here. Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam Puran ki jai.